Before we start, we would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are occupying land in Peterborough, Nogojinawang on the Treaty 20 territory and traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabeg. This land is associated with the Williams Treaty. We offer our gratitude to the First Nations for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Chamily Drama. Just to start off, we are going to go over a few announcements about things coming up this week. So first, today, Monday, is the last day to apply to be an orientation week leader. So it's Monday the 20th is the day this is airing. It is the last day to apply to be an orientation week leader. Get your applications in before midnight to be an orientation week leader. Yeah, it's super exciting. It's a great opportunity and it's ending soon, so make sure you get it in fast.
Also coming up is the cabinet elections. So keep an eye out for all of the posters of those people who are running and make sure that you cast your vote when it is time. It is super important that everybody votes in this election and has a say, because you may not realize how much of an impact our cabinet does have on your life. They are involved in so many different committees around the university and help make many important decisions about student life as well as finances. So please make sure you read everybody's reason for why they're running and cast an educated vote. It is super important. So you can keep an eye out for all those dates on our Instagram as well as the Champlain Cabinet Instagram.
Yeah, and then something else coming up on March 25th is the annual Tuna Powwow. Tuna is our on-campus group. It is the Trent University Native Association, so they represent Indigenous students on campus. And yeah, they're having a powwow on March 25th. It's going to be at the Athletic Center. Grand entry is starting at 12 p.m. And there will be Indigenous student and staff vendors available, so that's super exciting. But please just note that this is an alcohol and drug-free event, so please come to the event sober.
Also going on right now is Trent Sustainability and Energy Plan Survey. So this is a survey that you can take to share your thoughts. By the deadline is also today, March 20th. But it is a great opportunity. You get a chance to win $250, $100, or $50 in Trent cash just by completing the survey. You don't have to do anything else. So great opportunity. You might as well take part in that, and you can find that on the My Trent portal.
Off-campus housing has also created a Discord channel for students to communicate with other students about housing needs. So it's a great way to look for places to stay, post a vacant room, subletting and stuff like that. So the link to their Discord is discord.gg/RQ4SRTK FYX. You can also find it on their Instagram. That might be a little bit better if you don't want to type that whole thing out. But yeah, it's a really good resource for students to just get in contact with each other. As we all know, we're in a housing crisis. It's very hard to find housing sometimes. So this is just one more thing that Trent's trying to do in order to make it a little bit easier for us.
Yeah, so it's great to find more resources, to find roommates, find someone to sublet your apartment if you don't want to be paying that rent over the summer months when you're not actually here. So it's a great resource, even just to make friends and connect with other people going through what you may be going through. All right, so in this episode, we are going to be talking about all things graduation and what you need to know before you graduate. So this is a really important episode to listen to, even if you're not planning on graduating this year. Maybe save it and revisit it for when you are graduating, because it has a lot of tips and tricks for things you might not have thought about that you need to do before you graduate, and just to make sure you don't get caught not actually being able to graduate when you wanted to.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with the basics, things that are pretty important for graduation. So the first is gonna be a degree check. We have do-it-yourself degree checks on the academic advising website, and as well you can do a DIY degree check on the new self-service portal. However, you should still book an advising appointment to get a degree check done, just because you don't want to miss anything. You don't want to get to applying to graduate and getting the notice back saying no. So just having that advisor go through and check it over with you just to make sure that you didn't miss anything or the system didn't miss anything is a really great idea.
Yeah, and for this type of thing, it's really good to just book a academic advising appointment in advance instead of going through our same day appointment booking, because same days tend to book really fast and can be really difficult to get. And so instead of putting yourself through all that frustration, at 9 a.m. every morning, appointments do open up for 2 weeks in advance, and those appointments are generally, much easier to get and book. So you can just do that through the student experience portal under academic appointment bookings and then academic advising. And then you'll see them 2 weeks in advance. It's just much better to do that also so that you're not taking away a same day appointment from a student who might have much more time sensitive issue.
Exactly. Another thing, and you might not even know this, I didn't know this for a long time, but you need to apply to graduate. You don't just get your 20 credits and all your requirements in and they say, you're good to go. They make you actually apply for that. So if you would like to convocate, graduate in June, the last day to apply is April 11th. So still got a little bit of time. It is sneaking up. I would definitely keep my eye on that. You can apply to graduate on the My Trent portal under the academics tab, and then in the form section there, that's where you'll find the application. And after you submit your application, it will undergo an eligibility assessment through the Office of the Registrar. So they'll just basically look at it and go, do they have all the requirements? Did they meet all of everything in order to graduate? And then they will either give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. They'll send you an email, and that will be completed about 10 days after the submission of your application. So if you don't hear back right away, don't worry about it. It takes like at least 10 days for them to get an answer out to students.
And in terms of the actual convocation ceremony, which if you didn't know what that was, is when you walk up on stage, get handed your diploma, and then walk off stage and wait for everybody else to do the same. And you wear like the gowns and the whole bit. So you actually have to RSVP to be able to attend that. It's not automatic once you apply to graduate. It's its own form. So it's its own convocation RSVP form that you must fill out in order to attend that ceremony. As well, you might be wondering about guests for convocation. So it is not necessary for a guest to have an invitation in order to attend the convocation. An electronic invitation is available for graduates to download and use for their guests if they want to. Each graduate may bring a total of 6 guests to watch them if the ceremony is held outdoors in good weather. So this may change depending on if it's a rainy day and they have to move it indoors, that number might go down. But make sure you don't bring more than 6 total guests.
All right, and then on to actual convocation itself. It happens in June. It happens at both Peterborough and Durham campuses, and the degrees are grouped into categories, and so you go with the category that your degree is in. And so Trent kind of divides them up however they want. I believe like psychology and social work are together, and then the sciences are usually together, and I believe nursing might have its own convocation and everything. But yeah, if you can't attend the convocation, you have to ask to have your degree mailed to you. Again, they won't just do it. You do need to fill out a form in order to do that, and you can find that on the Office of the Registrar's website. So you can either have the degree mailed to you, or you can go and pick it up in Blackburn Hall. One thing to remember is that your degree is usually not going to be like ready in physical form until about 3 weeks after your graduation date. So yeah, if you're looking to get that piece of paper pretty quickly, it's going to take you about 3 weeks after you graduate. Just so you know, it's not the Office of the Registrar that doesn't want to give it to you. They just have a turnover time. Another thing is that degrees will not be released to students with outstanding fees. So if you do have outstanding fees with the university, you will be allowed to attend graduation. You will technically graduate, but they won't actually give you your degree until your fees are paid. So yeah, if you owe any money to the university, you're going to want to look into settling up on that right now.
And lastly, after convocation, you officially become a Trent alumni. So visit trentu.ca/alumni for information on the benefits, services, programs, and events offered to you for free from them. There's actually a lot going on with them, especially I know Champlain alumni in specific have a really big community. So check that out after you graduate, and it's a great way to stay involved with Champlain.
Yeah, we also have a lovely alumni house, which is an association that runs things for Trent alumni. So you can also feel free to call them, email them, talk to them about what it means to be an alumni. But yeah, it's really great. You'll get to attend alumni events like homecoming, hot, head of the Trent, as an alumni rather than a student. So very exciting. All right, and now we're just going to talk about a few things that aren't necessary for graduation, but you might want to be thinking about. So the first is graduation photos. You don't technically need to be photographed in order to graduate, but a lot of people like to have them as mementos, to send to family, as well as to appear in the yearbook. So gowns and hoods are available to rent year-round from our conferences services. There is a fee that covers the cost to maintain the gowns. But you can rent them from the conferences marketplace site. So if you just go onto Trent's marketplace and go to conferences, that's where you can find them. You can also contact conferences at conferences@trentu.ca, or their number is 705-748-1260.
Yeah, and so when you go to sign up to rent, they'll ask you the date you want to pick up your gown, as well as your student number and your degree type. So make sure you have all of that figured out before you rent your gowns. So for Trent, their graduation portraits are taken by Miranda Studios. They are a local Peterborough business, and they can offer this service all year round. So photos can be taken in studio or on campus before convocation. So a lot of people like to think about this early before their actual graduation year. So if you're graduating next year, this is something you might want to look into already. A lot of people like to take graduation photos in the fall because they like the pretty fall colors, especially in Champlain. So Miranda Studios has a full supply of Trent gowns and hoods, and they also offer props such as flowers, scrolls, and hats. So you can book an appointment by calling them at 705-742-8338, or you can email them at info@mirandastudios.ca, or their website is www.mirandastudios.ca.
Yeah, and to make sure that you do have your photo appear in the Trent Annual, you must have your in-studio photo done by March 30th. So that's coming up quite quick. It's March 20th today, so you got about 10 days to get that done if you still want to appear in the Trent Annual. Also have composite photographs, which are compilations of the formal photographs by type and degree. They hang on the walls of the colleges in professional settings in the university. You must have your in-studio photo taken by April 30th to appear in the composites. So you got a little bit more time on that one. You got about a month. So you should be able to get that one done in time.
So another thing that isn't required but is offered, at least by Champlain, we're not sure about the other colleges, is the graduation dinner. Oh, I said dinner weird.
That's it.
Is the graduation dinner. So Champlain College puts on a graduation dinner to celebrate graduating Champlain students. So this year it's going to be on Friday, March 24th from 5 to 8 p.m. So you need to register for this event in order to attend. There is a limited number of tickets. So to register, if you are graduating this year, you would have received an email to your Trent inbox with the survey to register. So make sure you fill that out. There will also be awards given at this to nominated students at this dinner. So if there's anyone you think is deserving of any award, make sure you fill out that nomination form. It's really important that it gets filled out. Even if you're a little bit unsure about people that might be deserving of an award, fill it out anyway. It really doesn't hurt, and you could just be giving somebody a great award. In terms of award nominations, you should also have a separate email in your inbox from our college principal, Tina Fridgen, with the survey to complete in order to fill out the nomination form. So make sure you check your inbox for both information about the graduation dinner and RSVPing for that, as well as for the awards.
All right, so say you're not graduating this year. Some of us are there. We're not graduating this year. We'll be graduating next year. But you can still actually be involved in the convocation ceremony, which is really exciting. So you can volunteer. You can sign up to volunteer for the convocation ceremonies. It would not be possible without all the volunteers. We have about 100 staff, faculty, and alumni and students who help out with convocation. It's an insane event. There's like, I think at least 3 convocations a day, and it goes on for like a week. It's huge, and it should be, because it's to celebrate such a great achievement. But they really need these volunteers to help make the day run smoothly. So ceremonies are about an hour to an hour and a half in length, and your shift starts a half hour before each.
An hour and a half.
Sorry, an hour and a half before each ceremony, through to the end of ceremony. And there are a number of different roles that you can do. So one of them is gowning, which you would provide hoods for the students to wear at the ceremonies. Marshalling, which is where you help students line up and give them their little reusable water bottle. West Bank and East Bank ushering, which is kind of just meeting people, greeting them, direct them in the right place, helping with the flow of traffic. I was an East Bank usher last year for convocation ceremonies. If you saw me standing out over there in my blue vest, hey. There's student center ushering as well, which directs students to gowning and as well to the photos. And accessible seating is another one. So to assist guests with accessible seating in the certain areas that we have put out for them, as well as in the gym if we have to move in there for poor weather. So volunteers will be provided with lunch if they help for a full day. And they will be thanked graciously as well. If you wanted to volunteer for convocation, I know that they're definitely going to be looking into that very soon as it's coming up. So you can just email them, convocation@trentu.ca, and let them know you want to volunteer.
Another way you can participate in convocation is just simply by attending as a guest. So there is guest parking on West Bank and overflow on East Bank. Elderly guests or persons with limited mobility can be dropped off at the Bata bus loop or use the accessible parking in front of the Bata library. Peterborough has a number of excellent restaurants. If you would like to book a meal with your graduate after the ceremony, you can find restaurant and accommodation listings on the tourism site or the Borough site. Alternately, you can stay on campus. So you can contact conferences@trentu.ca to book a meal. As well, guests can pre-order flowers for their graduate, which can be picked up at the ceremony. Please wait until after the ceremony, however, to give your graduate their flowers, so they're not allowed to carry anything with them on stage. You can also order degree frames with Trent branded mat and branded gifts from the Trent bookstore. So just visit the Trent bookstore website to look more into gifts you can give your graduate.
And just on the topic of guests, we know that some students may have guests, family members that are traveling internationally to be here for their convocation. So if your relatives are international and require a visa to attend convocation, there are steps for this process. So you can request a letter of enrollment on your MyTrent, and you would have to write a letter of invitation to invite your relative to convocation. The Canadian government provides clear information to help you write that letter of invitation on their website. So if you just do a quick Google search, it'll come up right away. And the letter of invitation doesn't guarantee that your relative will get a visa or permit, but it does help. Trent University does not write the letter of invitation. You have to do it yourself. But on their convocation website, they do provide a sample letter so you can kind of see what they're looking for. So then your international relative would need to take that verification of enrollment as well as that letter of invitation and include it in the visa application when it's submitted. And if necessary, the 2023 convocation ceremony schedule can also be submitted with the application, and you can find that on Trent's website as well.
Yeah, so all of this information we've just talked about is all available on Trent's website by going to trentu.ca/convocation. So if you're a little bit confused about anything we said, just check there, or feel free to call us or visit us in the Champlain office anytime. All right, and now we're just going to close out with a few reminders. First, make sure you apply for orientation week by the end of the day. Today, which is Monday, March 20th at midnight is when applications close. As well, keep an eye out for cabinet elections, as it's really important you vote on those as they do have a really big impact on every student.
Also, the tuna powwow again is March 25th, so super important. I'd love to see everyone out there. I will probably be there, so if you see me, come say hi. And yeah, a look into next week's show is going to be really exciting. We are going to be talking all about the reopening of the Pig's Ear. So if you haven't heard of the Pig's Ear, you will soon. It's a big deal for Trent students. It did close, I believe, in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
A couple years before we started at Trent, so we never got to experience either. But it is reopening. It's very important to Trent students, and it is two Trent alumni who are reopening it, Steve and Ashley. So we are going to have an awesome interview with them next week.
All right, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.